right. Good morning. Last class. This is it. It went fast, didn't it? Yeah, it does. It goes very fast. All right. So between last class and this one, you had one final chapter to read in the yellow book. Good morning. So it was chapter 10 in your yellow book, and then you had the test on page 190 in your white book. I'll go ahead and get those scores. Akayla. Thank you. Felicity. Thank you. Jamie. Thank you. Peyton. Thank you. Gloria. Kenley. Thank you. Melissa. Melissa, do you have 7, 8, and 9? Yes. Be page 187, starting on.
Yes, I got 100 for chapter 7, 100 on 188, and then 95 for 189.
Okay. Thank you. Nancy?
95.
Do you have 7, 8, and 9 for me?
$100, 95, 95.
Thank you. Jasmine?
100.
Thank you. Jose?
Can I tell you in like 1 minute?
Sure, absolutely. Alani? Thank you. Amelia? Isabella? Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. So this will be, this is the sign up sheet for practice time. I'll pass it around again at the end for anybody that did not have a chance to sign up for practice time. Okay. Just remind me at the end to pass that around. Okay. 90. Thank you. Any final questions? Any final questions?
I have a question. When we're lifting a patient to turn in the bed and put him into a chair, I have him walk 10 steps. When you go to pick him up, do you have your left foot forward or your right foot forward?
Your one foot is across their feet, perpendicular.
Okay.
Okay. So it keeps their feet from sliding out.
Okay.
The other foot is parallel to them.
Okay.
So it's not really one foot forward. You're
Right.
standing at the corner of a
We
box.
just have a foot in front of their feet.
Right. Because you don't want their feet to slide out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is continuing education in the 18 hours?
We're going to be talking about that in detail today. Yep. Yep. Any other questions on anything we've gone over? Skills, theory, written test, skills test, testing
How many
process?
questions are on the written test?
60.
And how many can you get wrong?
I can't answer that because it's not that straightforward.
Okay.
You have to, good morning, you have to pass each section on the written exam. And the problem is that it's not going to tell you the following 7 questions are from safety. If it told you that, then you'd know how to answer them, right? So it's not that easy where I can just say you get a 70% and pass the written. Now, some states do grade like that, but Florida is not one of them. With Florida, you have to pass each section. And the reason for that is you might do fantastic on the entire test, okay? Get all of the questions right, that's great, but you fail safety. So is that going to make you a good CNA out there? Yeah, even though you got all the other questions right, but you failed safety, you're going to put your patients at risk. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an overall score. It's a score based on each section. You have to know your role. If you don't know your role, if you don't understand the care plan and why it's important to follow it, if you're just out there making up the skills you're going to do and doing them the way you want them to be done, that's not going to benefit the patient. It's also going to put you at risk for liability. You have to know your role. You also have to know what normals are, not just normal vital signs, but what's normal for the patient and what's normal for each condition the patient may be experiencing, because our job is observation and reporting of anything abnormal. So if you don't know normals, you'll never know what to report. So you have to know that. So if you get everything else right, but you don't know your normals, it's not going to make you an effective CNA. Okay. Does that make sense? How many of you guys caught the game show yesterday? Okay, good.
Couldn't find it.
So you didn't get the text message?
No, I didn't get a text message.
Okay. All right.
We're
Yeah.
having communication problems.
Yeah. Well, some of you hadn't opted in for text messaging. So if you didn't opt in, our system can't send you a text message. But the questions yesterday were hard on purpose. I made them hard. And because I got a lot of feedback that the questions were getting too easy. So I ramped it up a little bit yesterday and made them a whole lot harder. So if you did not join the game show yesterday live, you probably want to go back and review those questions. Go watch the replay. Go to my YouTube channel. It's on my YouTube channel. Just click under playlists and find the game show playlist. It's going to be the first one there. Those questions, the way that I worded them, the content was what you guys have covered. It's the way the questions were worded and the order the answers were given in. And a lot of people on the game show yesterday, they read the first answer, thought it was the right one, put that number in, selected that one, but a better answer was at the end of the list. So you have to be careful about things like that. Don't just think, oh, that's the right answer, and then move on. Read all of the answers before you make that determination. Okay, good, good. All right. Any other questions? Oh, Jake, can you turn my ringer off, please? I forgot. Any other questions? Okay. All right. This is the last class. If you have not registered for the test yet, you need to make that a priority. Make sure that you get your background check done and register. Otherwise, the holidays are coming and things will get busy and you just won't test.
I went to UPS to do my fingerprints, and it says for them to get approved to make sure I did them right, it is 48 to 72 hours. Can I still apply for my test right now?
Yeah, generally speaking, we suggest you wait 24 hours
Okay.
from the time that you do
Yeah.
your fingerprints until you register for the test. But yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Where'd you get yours done?
At UPS, the one by the torn down Publix right now, the
Yeah.
rebuilding and
Yeah.
Dr. Smoke, that UPS I did it at. But they don't help you, so if you roll your fingers wrong, it sucks for you. So
The UPS store at Barclay
yeah.
and Spring Hill Drive is where we recommend.
Well,
Yeah, that's the best one because we've never had a problem there.
okay.
Yeah, never had a problem there.
Is that one? Is that the one by the neighborhood Walmart?
It's across the
Okay.
street.
All right.
Yeah. If you go to dtis.com and do the registration like we talked about in class, the background check registration online, that's the one that it'll show in our area for the level 2 live scan for the other UPS stores don't show up on there on that list. So that's why I recommend that one, because I know for sure that it's a level 2 with photo, uses the code, and all of the fingerprints we've had through them have worked just fine.
Yeah, I put in my code and I took a photo and I did everything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Last class time real quickly, but
No, you're
I
fine.
wanted to do that sign up sheet for try to coordinate times.
Yes, yes. Yes. So he's going to pass around a notebook, and this is for you guys. This doesn't have anything to do with us, but this is independent for students. If you guys want to form a study group where you can, study for the test, practice, utilize the practice time in here. If you want to sign it, he's going to coordinate this. So if you want to form a study group, put your information on this paper that he's passing around. This is going to be through him. And it allows you guys to coordinate outside because today's your last day.
Exactly.
So it allows you guys to coordinate to be able to form study groups for practice.
I also put a little section there for like a time. So maybe you don't want to do the email thing. I'll know today, and then we can probably sign up for that for like coordinate the time next week, Monday, and I don't know. I'll go through all the skills.
Yep. It is a good idea. So he'll pass this around. It is a good idea to study in groups. Usually groups of 3 is what we recommend. One person to be the patient, one person to do the skill. The third person should have the book in front of them with the step-by-step instructions to make sure everything is being done correctly. Okay. So we do recommend that. Any other questions? Very good. Any other questions? No? Yes, she had told me. I've got that down. She had told me yesterday. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Let's talk about continuing education. So once you get your certification, so you register for the test, you go take the test, they're not going to send you a blue card any longer. They used to up until this year. They used to send a blue card out. You would get it in the mail, and that was your proof that you were a certified CNA. They don't do that any longer. Nobody gets blue cards, not even nurses. Nobody's getting certification cards anymore. Everything is now verified through an online portal. So when you go to work somewhere, they're going to have to look you up in this online portal to make sure that you are still currently certified. So you're not going to get anything in the mail that tells you what your expiration dates is. So when you go take the test, give it 2 or 3 days, and then you're just going to go to your favorite search engine. I don't care which one you use, and just type in Florida CNA license lookup, and it'll bring you to the MQA site. It's medical quality assurance for the state of Florida. And when you go into that site, it's going to ask you for your name. You can put in, the type of certification that you're researching, but you can just do a search just with your name. So, you would put in your first name, your last name, and hit search. And a whole list of people are going to pop up that have your name, that have medical certificates or licenses of some sort. So, and even if you think you've got a very unusual name, a lot of times somebody else has that name. It really is. It surprised me. When I was living up in Citrus County, there was another nurse in Citrus County with my name. So it was just a little strange, right? So you want to look for the one that's you, right? Your name, CNA, and it'll also have your address there. So you'll find the one that's you, click on it, and it'll open up a page that has your certification number, and it will have your expiration date. You're going to want to make note of that expiration date. You are joining a group already in progress. Half of all CNAs in Florida expire in even years. The other half expire in odd years. It has nothing to do with when you get certified. So you guys are going to think about, you think, okay, I'm testing in November of 2025. Certainly they're not going to make me renew in May of 2026, right? You would be wrong. Half of you in this room will probably be renewing in 6 months. The other half would be renewing in 18 months. This has to do with, I believe it's your Social Security number. They won't verify that, but I believe it's your Social Security number or it could be your certification number. I'm not sure which one they use, but it's something that doesn't ever change. It's a piece of information that identifies you that doesn't ever change. So if you get certified and then you don't renew, like you have to renew in 6 months, you don't renew, you think, this isn't for me, I don't want to be a CNA, I'm not going to renew. And then 5 years from now, you need money and you decide, oh my gosh, I really need my CNA now. And you go back through the process, you take the test and you get recertified, you're going to keep that same number you had. And you're going to keep the same expiration frequency that you had. So that's why it doesn't change. That's why you're joining a group already in progress. Does that make sense? So some of you will be expiring May of 2026. Some of you will be expiring May of 2027. Your job is to count how many months you are certified, okay, when you get your certification. So if you get certified in November, then you would have your certification for 6 months before you have to renew. Good. All CNA certifications expire May 31st, half in odd years, half in even years. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. Hold up. All right. So everybody understand you're joining a group already in progress. And you have to look at your certification online to find out what your expiration date is. Everybody get that? On your expiration year in February, they're going to start sending you emails. And they're going to say, hey, you're up for renewal this cycle. Make sure you get all of your requirements in. We're going to talk about the requirements in just a minute. But they will start sending you emails in February, March, and by April, if you haven't renewed, they're going to be like, don't forget to renew. Because if you don't renew by March 31st or May 31st, you are not a CNA. Period. You are not a CNA. You cannot work as a CNA. There is no allowance for this at all. And if an employer employs you on June 1st and you didn't renew, that employer is going to get fined big, like $5,000 for every shift that you worked. So your employer is going to be very, very vested in whether you renewed or not. And most of the time, employers will start hounding you in April. Hey, we're not even going to put you on the schedule in May unless you show me that you've renewed. Okay, make sense? Just go into Google and type in Florida CNA license lookup or your favorite search. It doesn't have to be your favorite search engine, whatever that is. Yes. Francois says, what about if we move from one state to another state? Will we be able to get a job? Okay, I'm going to talk to you about moving in just a little bit, so stay tuned. I've got some stuff I've got to tell you about that. All right, so everybody know how to find your CNA number, your certification number, and your expiration date. Everybody know how to find that now. Do you know when to find it? 2 to 3 days after you've passed your state exam. Yes. All right. So why do we need that expiration date? Well, you're going to have to renew. Renewal is not hard. You don't have to take the test again. You literally go online, check 2 boxes, and pay $55, and you're renewed. It is that simple. But we have to talk about those 2 boxes that you're checking. Those, if you lie on your renewal, they will take your certification and you will never, ever get it back. In fact, you won't be able to get any other medical certification ever again because you lied. And they look at that as an ethics problem. So be very, very careful here. Make sure that you actually have the renewal requirements met before you check the 2 boxes. Let's talk about what those renewal requirements are. The first renewal requirement is that you have worked as a CNA for pay at least once in the renewal cycle. So those of you that are renewing in 6 months, May of 2026, you would have had to work as a CNA for pay at least once in that 6-month period. Those of you who are renewing in May of 2027, you would have had to work at least once for pay in 18 months. So it's not like you have to have a full-time job or a set amount of hours. It just says once for pay as a CNA. So if you, let's say you work at a bank and you like your bank job, you're making good money, you're progressing, you don't want to leave that to become a CNA, but you do want to keep your certification because you never know, you would contact a home health company, let them know, hey, I'm a CNA. I need a visit for renewal. And they'll know exactly what you're talking about. And they'll probably hire you, put you on their roster, and they'll give you a visit. And now you keep your pay stub and you can prove that you have worked at least once as a CNA for pay. You're done. However, they don't do that for free. They're going to keep you on their list of employees. And when they have a case that they are having a hard time staffing, they're probably going to give you a call and say, hey, I've got a case. Can you pick it up? Right? So this allows them to get a lot of people on their list. And then when they need somebody, they go fishing. They've got a stocked pond. Okay. Does that make sense?
What do, like, I worked in an assisted living, but I'm not hired on as a CNA, I'm hired on as a mental health.
So, yeah, this is, the Board of Nursing has actually been asked a couple of years ago to make this more defined because there was a ruling many years ago that personal care assistants did not qualify. So like assisted living, right? This is personal care. You're helping people with bathing, dressing, grooming, feeding, that type of thing. It's personal care. It's not nursing related. It's personal care. So there was a ruling a while ago that said that personal care did not qualify, but then that was challenged. Okay. So right now, it's kind of a don't ask, don't tell type of situation. I wish I could give you more defined criteria, but the Board of Nursing just hasn't defined it. And I'm going to explain why this is important in a minute. So you're going to check the box because you are performing personal care. Personal care is listed as CNA tasks in the state statutes, so that covers you. But the reason that I say that is because this may change in the future. We're waiting on guidance. This may change in the future. In Florida, we have over 300,000 CNAs. It's a lot of CNAs in Florida, over 300,000. This is why they had to split you into two groups. 6 years ago, everybody just renewed all at one time, but there were too many. So they had to split you into two groups about 6-7 years ago. It's a lot of people to try to manage. It really is. And in the vast majority of places, you don't need your CNA to actually work in those healthcare settings. We're going to talk about that today too. There's only 2 places legally that you have to be certified to work in. It's home care, if you don't have your home health aide, or nursing homes, skilled nursing. That's it. Every other place, you don't have to be a CNA legally to work. So hospitals, you don't have to have a CNA certification to work there. Mental health, you don't have to have a CNA certification to work there. Assisted livings, you don't have to be certified. Rehabs, you don't have to have a certification. So a lot of the places that we traditionally think that you need a CNA to work, legally, according to the statutes, you don't. But legal is different from employer requirements. Those are 2 different things. Employers have to abide by legal, but they can also put other restrictions in as well. So in a hospital, even though the state statutes say you don't have to be a CNA, you don't have to be certified to work there, the hospitals are all going to advertise for CNAs. Now, why is that? The state statute says that you don't have to be certified, but the job requirement says you do. That's on the employer side, not the legal side. That's the employer side. Because the employer figures if you're certified, somebody independent has checked out your skills. So they have an assumption that you actually know what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Another question in regards to that.
All right, Grace says, so do the other employer has to renew your certificate, or can I just send a pay slip? All right, just stay tuned. I got to lead you there step by step. Okay, but stay tuned. I'm going to answer this. So do you guys understand that legal is different from employer? Okay. When I owned the retail store and I hired a retail associate to help us out, I could have required that that retail associate had a master's degree in art history if I wanted to. That's just something, I can, if I'm the one hiring, I can make up whatever criteria I want my employees to have. Does that make sense? So legal and employer are two totally different things. And you need to understand that. So that's why I'm telling you that this can change. This can change because the state of Florida is saying, hold up, why are we regulating 300,000 people? Do you know the staff they have to regulate 300,000 people? Why are we as a state spending the money to do that if it's not required that they're certified to work in most of these settings? So that's why I'm saying this could change. And the reason I think it might change is because it's already changed in other states. There are a handful of states, I believe it's 6 right now, that the employer renews your certification. You have to be working full-time in a nursing home to get your CNA renewed in, I believe it's 6 states. And the employer, the nursing home, sends a list of all currently employed CNAs once a year to the state and says these people are eligible for renewal. Now, I'm not saying that we would go to a system like that, but I'm saying that we could because the precedent has already been set. Okay, so you need to understand that moving forward because right now renewal is on you. And assisted living will qualify, but it may not in the future. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. There's a lot of legal stuff here today, I know, and everybody glazes over, but it's important that you understand it because it may affect your future certification status. Good? Good. Okay. So you're going to go online. They're going to send you an email, say, hey, it's almost time to renew. They're going to have a link in the email. You're going to click the link and it's going to take you to the renewal screen and you're going to create an account. And then you're going to have to renew. Now, the first box is, have you worked at least once as a CNA for pay? You're going to check that box because we've already talked about it. You do not send anything in. You are not going to submit a pay stub. You don't send anything anywhere. You're checking a box. You might be audited. They audit about 1% of all CNAs every year. You might be audited. And if you're audited, they're going to say, hey, show us proof. So you better have something. Don't lie. Don't check the box if you didn't do the work. Good. Penalties for lying are really severe, guys. They do not have a sense of humor at all. At all. And they are not nice if you have to go before the board. I have seen them absolutely tear people up for lying because it's a violation of the public trust. And they take that very seriously. So the second box is, have you completed continuing education units for this renewal period? Now, continuing education is really easy to get. Most of the time, most CNAs do it online. But if you work at a place that has like a monthly meeting where they bring all the CNAs in once a month and they have an hour-long meeting, and usually they're going to talk about things that are relevant to that setting. You know, we've noticed everybody's falling lately. Let's talk about fall safety and how to prevent these falls. Or we've noticed that a lot of our diabetic patients are having changes and you guys aren't reporting them. Let's talk about what we need to report for diabetics. What do the nurses need to know? So they're going to go over topics that are relevant to that work setting. And after they give you that talk, they're going to give you a 5-question quiz just to make sure you stayed somewhat awake during the talk. And you're going to do the quiz, and then they will award your continuing education that month. Okay. So sometimes you can get your continuing education at work. That is a great interview question. Do you offer continuing education? Great question. You can also get continuing education online. Probably the most common way that most CNAs get their CEUs, their continuing education. For CNAs, continuing education is called in-services. For nurses, they're called CEUs. But a lot of times, CNAs will use that CEU term as well. And that's okay. But for CNAs, we actually have its own term called in-services. Make sense? Good? Good.
Assuming the CEUs of the nurses are different than the CNA.
Yes, because it's a totally different scope of practice.
It's not important question, but what if you just wanted to do that one instead? Could you, and would that count towards the CNA's CEU?
You could. There are certain ones that are required for CNAs. You've got to make sure that you have those done. And then anything above that, you could, certainly do advanced study. That's okay. But I would caution you, however, only because if you're doing CEUs that are designed for nurses, it can very easily push you out of your scope of practice without you even really being aware of it. Because nurses are taught to think, problem solve. So their continuing education is going to be based on problem solving. Now, CNAs that are doing nursing continuing education are going to learn how to problem solve. And you'd be surprised at how easily that can push you over your scope of practice boundary in a clinical setting without you even being aware of it. And now you're putting yourself in a liability issue.
Sure.
So you have to be really, really careful if you're going to do advanced study that you are crystal clear on where your boundary is, because it's not going to cover it. Does that make sense? Remember, CNAs follow the care plan and we report everything else to the nurse. Those are our hard boundaries. We cannot cross those boundaries. We cannot say to ourselves, well, I think. No thinking. And yet nursing is all about thinking. Okay. Does that make sense? Good? Everybody good with that? All right. So let's talk about the continuing education that we are required to have. So if you look on page 171, at the very bottom of that first column, you'll see some bold words. It goes up into the top of the second column there. These are the topics that are required for every CNA in each renewal period. So once your first renewal is done, you're going to be renewing every 2 years with everybody else. It's just that first renewal that's going to be cut short because you're joining a group that's already in progress. So you need to have bloodborne pathogens. That's going to be, that whole chain of infection we talked about. They're going to, you're going to have additional training on that. Bloodborne pathogens. Medical error prevention. This is a big one. We make mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes, but we're making mistakes with humans, and the mistakes we make have long-term consequences. So our goal is to reduce the amount of mistakes we make. So you're going to have some sort of continuing education every renewal period about how to recognize the mistakes you're making and how to prevent making them. You'll also need, let's see here, domestic violence. This is becoming very common, and CNAs, as medical professionals, are mandated reporters. So if you suspect any sort of abuse, you need to go by your policy and procedure to figure out how you should be reporting it. Are you reporting it to the nurse and the management, or are you reporting it to outside agencies? You need to know what your pathway is. Domestic violence is not a mandated reporting in Florida. So if you suspect somebody is a victim of domestic abuse, we don't report that in Florida. That's not a mandated reporting. Elder abuses and child abuses, vulnerable populations are, but not domestic. So what do you do with domestic then? If it's not a mandated report, what do you do? And that's what these continuing education courses are designed to teach you, to recognize the signs of domestic abuse and know what to do when you see it. So in most cases, most settings, you'll go by your policies and procedures, but most settings, you'll report it to your nurse and they'll take it from there. You guys are going to be in the rooms a whole lot more with patients, especially when their families are visiting. You're going to be in a position to see a whole lot more. You're bathing patients. You see all of their skin, even places that are hidden by clothing. A lot of domestic violence is going to, unfortunately, you see a lot of abuse happen that's hidden by clothing. Cigarette burns on the chest, bruising on the stomach, cuts on the legs, things that aren't overly visible. So if you're the one helping somebody bathe and you see these, what are you supposed to do about it? So that's what domestic violence is going to focus on. Communication with cognitively impaired individuals. So all of us can communicate with people that can communicate with us, right? That's easy. That's easy. But what if somebody can't communicate well? How do you communicate with somebody that has cognitive issues? So there's going to be, this is what chapter 5 was in your book. You're going to, every 2 years, you've got to brush up on that. And how do you communicate with people that can't communicate well? And you'll also have documentation principles specific for CNAs. We've gone over that in class as well. So those are topics you have to go over every 2 years, every renewal period. You have to cover those, everything that's bolded there.
Now, is there a specific place we can find these? Or
So yeah, so your employer may offer them. That's a great interview question. If your employer does not offer them, you've got a million options. There are some companies that actually send booklets to your house, usually 2 or 3 times a year, and say, hey, if you read this stuff and fill out the test and mail it back to us with a check, we'll give you your continuing education. That's a great, it's convenient. It comes right to your house. It's easy, right? So some people will do that. Other people will go online and they'll pay a flat rate, like $25 per year, and they get all the continuing education that they need, unlimited. Whatever topics you want to study, go for it.
How do you prove that you?
We're going to get there. Hold on. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get it. And again, search engines are your friend here. Just type in CNA and Services Florida and they'll all pop up. But we also have an organization in Florida called CE Broker. CE Broker. So this is an independent organization, but they work with the Board of Nursing. CE for Continuing Education Broker. If you go on to CE Broker, you just select CNA and select your state, Florida, and it will pull up every continuing education provider that is certified in the state of Florida. And you can pick one from there. And that's the one that I recommend, going through CE Broker, because you can make sure that whoever you're choosing is recognized and your hours do count. Okay. Good. Questions? All right. So at renewal time, you're going to start getting emails February, March, April. Your employer is going to start hounding you in April. Make sure that you're renewed. You're going to click the link, go to the website, create your account, and then you're going to click renew my certification. When you get into renew, you're going to click the box that says, yes, I have worked at least once as a CNA for pay this renewal cycle. And then you're going to check the box that says, yes, I have completed all of my required continuing education credits. Now, we've talked about the ones that you are required, these, but you actually are going to need more than this. Okay, these are required minimums, but you have to have 1 hour of continuing education for every month that you're certified. So those of you who have to renew in May of next year, 6 months from now, you would need 6 hours of continuing education to renew. Those of you who are renewing in 18 months, May of 2027, you will need 18 credits of continuing education, 18 hours. After that, after your first renewal, you will always need 24, 1 for every month that you're certified. Got it? Now, you have to take these. These are non-negotiable. You have to have these. But anything above that, so this will take care of roughly about 10 hours of continuing education. Everything above that is whatever you want. But try to tailor it to something that's relevant to your work setting. If you're working in a mother-baby unit, then learning how to swaddle a baby is probably a good thing to know, right? So you would want to take continuing education on swaddling or feeding basics or APGAR scores. What do they mean? You know, those types of content that's relative to that particular setting. If you're working in dementia care, you would want to take continuing education based on dementia care. Like, what is FTP, right? Frontal temporal. I can't remember what the P stands for off the top of my head. It used to be called Pick's disease, which is a type of dementia. You'd want to do continuing education on Alzheimer's. Lewy body dementia, right? What are the different types of dementia? How do they affect our patients? If you're working in a med-surg unit, you might want to learn about the signs and symptoms of surgical site infections. So you want to tailor your continuing education to the setting that you're working in. But continuing education can help you if you're looking to move to a new setting. Let's say that you are working in, I don't know, a med-surg unit, and you decide that you want to go into a dialysis setting. Well, then right now you don't know much about dialysis. So you'd want to take some continuing education units on the CNA role in dialysis, so that when you go for those interviews, you've got those certifications. You can show the continuing education that you've taken. That shows initiative, but it also shows a knowledge base there. Makes you much more attractive to a future employer. So you go online, you check the box, I have worked as a CNA. You check the box, I have done my continuing education, and you pay $55. You are now renewed. You'll print off your renewal. You'll give it to your employer so they can see. They'll go online and verify that you are renewed and you're good for another 2 years. You don't have to worry about anything for the next 2 years. You don't send anything anywhere. You do not have to get your certificates and mail them off to the Board of Nursing. You do not have to send a pay stub to the Board of Nursing. You're not doing any of that. You're just checking 2 boxes. If they audit you, you have to be able to produce all of this information. And they can audit you up to 5 years after your renewal. So you have to keep all of your paperwork for 5 years after each renewal. Good? Good. Now, one of the things that's coming, not yet, I think we're probably 2 or 3 years away from it, but it's already in place for nurses. So as a nurse, when I do my continuing education, the company that I go to reports directly to CE broker. So when I'm online and I do my continuing education, CE broker is notified of it immediately. So it is now in the system, and I can't even renew unless all of my continuing education is in. It won't let me renew. That box is grayed out. I cannot renew unless I've done my continuing ed, because nurses have to do continuing ed too. That system is coming for CNAs. So at some point in the next few years, when you do your continuing education, it will notify CE broker that that was done. And they're not going to let you renew until your continuing education is all up to date. That kind of reduces the issue with having to prove, okay, it's already in the system by a verified third party. That's why I want you to get in the habit of going through CE broker to find your continuing education partners, because it's going to be important in a few years.
For every topic, considered 1 hour, or
It depends.
focuses are like
Yeah.
topic, 1 hour? Cool.
It depends. The minimum is 1 hour. Used to be a half hour, actually. I believe they've gone away from the half hour. I'm pretty sure the minimum now is an hour. But you can have like Alzheimer's is a 4-hour continuing education. There's a lot of them that are, 2, 3, 4. I just did one for my last renewal in April that was 10. It was a big course, So just kind of, if you have a short attention span, don't get into the big ones, because they take a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of focus. Stay to the 1.5. Okay. All right. So everybody good on renewal? Any questions on how to renew? You're going to get an email. You're going to click the link in the email. You're going to check the box that says, I have worked as a CNA, keep a pay stub for proof. You're going to check the box, I have done my continuing education, keep your, certificates for proof. You're not going to send them anywhere, just if you're audited, you need them. And you're going to pay $55, and you're going to get renewed for the next 2 years. Not every state is the same. There are some states that CNAs don't renew at all. The employers do. We talked about that this morning. And there's no cost. So CNAs don't have to pay anything. In Florida, we have to pay $55 to renew. There are some states that have no renewal at all. They just, I don't know how it's very strange to me how there's 2 of them that I'm like, what, how do you work this? Gosh, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but they're not computerized states. I think it's like, no, I think one of them was like Maryland or Delaware. No, Delaware's computerized now. No, Nevada is actually very strict. Very strict. Yeah. So every state's going to handle this a little bit differently. And we're going to talk about how to go to another state in just a few minutes. Okay. So everybody good with this? With renewal? All right. So I actually have a video on this on my website. If you go to foryourcna.com. So this is my main website, what we call the free site. It's everything on this site is free. So if you look at this site, foryourcna.com, at the top, you've got CNA training. That's where you are right now. If you open this menu up, you're going to see skills videos, practice test, the live stream, all the stuff. And remember, this is the free site. Everything on here is free. So everything, when you open this up, everything there is going to be for you now. Animated videos, skills videos, all kinds of stuff on here for free for you. The next option up there is testing. That's what's coming up for you. So there's information on how to register for the test, what to expect, the background check, what if I have a criminal background, All of those questions are going to be answered under the testing tab. Once you're certified, though, you don't need those two. You've done those two. We're past that. So then you have the after certification tab, and that's what we're going to talk about now, is the after certification tab. So the first one there is local employers. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But the second one is CNA renewal instructions, and it's going to bring up this video. I have to redo this video. I'm planning on doing that probably over the next 8 weeks because I've got 8 weeks between classes. I'm not teaching over the holidays. So I'm hoping to get this video refreshed because the content is fine here, but it still talks about the blue card, which we don't get anymore. There is no blue card any longer. So I've got to update this. But I need you to know where to find this because in 2 years or in 18 months, when you go to renew, you're not going to remember anything I just said. Right? You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to renew? Nobody told me. And you're going to call me up and I'm going to say, go to foryourcna.com under after certification and watch the video for renewal. And yes, I get a bazillion phone calls in April of every year. So just know that I do have a video on it. The video right now is a little bit outdated, just with one of the pieces of information. I will update that and get that up for you, hopefully before you need it. This is what the blue card used to look like. We don't get these anymore. The blue card was nice. They would mail it to your house, usually within a week of certification, and it gave you your expiration date right there, front and center, so you had no excuses. Now you have to do the work. You have to go online and find your expiration date. So a little more work on your part, a little less work on the state's part. All right, so let's talk about what happens when you want to move to another state. In some states, not all, but some states, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm a Florida CNA. I'd like to be a New York CNA. How do I do that? They're going to say, oh, cool. Do our background check. Yeah, every state, you have to have your own background check in each state. Do our background check, pay us a fee, because nothing comes free, and we'll give you a certification in New York because you've got one in Florida. It's that easy. Background check, fee, paperwork, certification. Easy peasy. There's some other states that are going to be like, not so fast. We don't trust anybody else's training. If you want to be a CNA here, you got to go through our training program. You got to start all over. You'd want to know which is which before you move. So if you decide that you're going to move, let's say you're going to move to Tennessee, you would want to get a hold of the Tennessee Board of Nursing and say, hey, I want to be a Tennessee CNA. I'm a Florida CNA. What do I need to do? And find out what their requirements are. This changes on a pretty regular basis. So I'm not going to give you information because I don't know what's changed this week. I do know that New York is pretty safe. Yeah, New York pays really well, but their cost of living is sky high. So it's all relative. Right? Areas with really high need will have less regulation. For instance, North Dakota. North Dakota is desperate for healthcare workers. So they're like, hey, just come, please. Right? Yeah. So every state's going to handle this a little bit differently based on the needs of that state at that time. Make sense? Good. I've given you a whole list on page 172 and 173 of all of the different boards of nursing and their contact information. So if you decide to go to another state, you've got the ability to contact them and find out what their requirements are. Good? Questions? I've done all the work for you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go to page 174. All right, on 174, it's going to talk to you about finding a job. finding a job in healthcare is a little bit different than finding a job in other industries. Generally speaking, if we're looking for a job, we sit on our couch and we go to an online jobs board like Indeed or Career Builder or Monster or Snag a Job or one of those. And we look up, who's hiring in the area. And that's really where we start our job search. And that's fine. But it's not going to give you a complete picture. And that's because healthcare in Florida is always understaffed. We are never fully staffed anywhere. Each one of those online jobs boards costs money for the employer. They're not free. They're free for you to search, but have you ever stopped to think who's paying for this? They're free for you to search, but do you really think it's truly free? Nothing is truly free. I mean, somebody has to be paying for this, and the person paying for it is the employer. So if we always have a job opening for CNA, always, we're never fully staffed. Do you really think that these employers want to pay all of these jobs boards every single week to advertise that position? No, they'd go out of business. So when you're on a Career Builder, there probably won't be too many CNA jobs. Or if you're on Indeed, you might find one that's not on Monster or, any of the others. So a lot of times these employers are going to pick and choose which job platform they want to be on. Or they might not even be on any of them at all. So there's positions out there that you don't see if you're just going through the normal jobs boards. So how do we find those positions? And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So the first thing that you really need to know is, where do you need to work? Okay. And we talked about this last class. If you go take that quiz, that workplace personality quiz, it's 19 questions, takes you 5 minutes to go through, and it will let you know what job setting would be the best for your personality. Did you take it?
Yes.
What'd you get? What'd you get? Did you get? Okay. All right.
Where is that?
So if you go to right here, go to my main website, foryourcna.com, scroll down the page, you're going to see this. You can also go directly to it by going to foryourcna.com/your-ideal-workplace. It's also going to be on a flyer I'm going to give you during graduation. Okay. We're going to make this easy for you. But you want to go do this. And the reason that I'm really adamant about this, it is scary accurate, guys. It really is accurate. The reason that I'm adamant about this is because I hear from a lot of employers out there, a lot of employers. And the one thing that keeps coming up over and over is, you're graduating out these CNAs, bless you, and they get into the workplace and they ghost. They leave in 2 weeks. They're gone. They just drop. And they don't just drop that workplace, they get out of healthcare completely. Now, this is a lot of time and money for you to invest in something that you just throw away. I mean, so the problem is that if you get into the wrong workplace right off the bat, you're going to leave. You're going to leave healthcare. And now we've lost an employee that we really needed. You're just going to leave because you're going to think healthcare is not for you. It's not healthcare that's not for you. It's where you decided to do healthcare that's not for you because you went into it with the wrong mindset. You've got to know that each healthcare setting that you go in is going to require a different level of care from you. And if you don't get that matchup right, your first job will probably be a failure. I need to stack the deck for you. I need to help you figure out the right place for you so that you have the best possible experience the first time out of the gate, and it will increase your odds of actually staying in healthcare. That's why I did this. Guys, this quiz took me 2 years of time to develop. This was not a weekend project. This was huge. And I did it specifically for you. Take advantage of it. This works. It'll help you protect your investment. It's worth the 5 minutes, I promise you. I don't even ask for any information from you. I don't ask for you to give me your email. I don't ask for anything. I just want you to stay in healthcare. Okay, so do this, please. All right, so once you know the right place for your personality, now we can start our job search. And yeah, you can probably go onto the online jobs boards. This is, we're all familiar with these guys. It's going to be your first stop because it's convenient. You're on your couch, you've got, TV on, and you're just flipping through some job opportunities. It's convenient. And these are kind of the big ones. One of the ones that I want to bring to your attention that you probably don't know about, though, is this one. USA Jobs. Right now, it's probably shut down because of the government shutdown. But keep this one in the back of your mind. This is where you're going to find government CNA positions. So CNAs can work in federal prisons. CNAs can work for the Department of Homeland Security in their detention areas. CNAs can work at intake centers for different government agencies. FEMA also hires CNAs now and then. So there's a lot of government jobs that you probably never even thought about, not even on your radar. But the biggest one you're going to see on USA Jobs is going to be the VA. So VA is Veterans Administration. The VA has nursing homes, they have hospitals, and it's a government job, so you get great benefits. They'll also help you with transferring. Let's say you want to go to Hawaii. If you're working for the VA system, they'll help you get to Hawaii, transfer. Got a job waiting for you. Awesome, right? Go ahead, Jake, put that back up, please. Tasha, that quiz is spot on. I got hospice, so that's exactly what my desire is. Go take it if you haven't. It's amazing. Thank you, Tasha.
Is it USA jobs.gov?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't know about the USA Jobs, and like I said, right now, because we're in the middle of a government shutdown, it may or may not be active. I don't know. Is it active? Okay. Getting hired through it. Yeah, that's going to be something else because all federal hiring is frozen at the moment. But it's a good thing for you to kind of be aware of. And our local VA nursing home, which is just outside of Tampa, they have contacted us on many occasions and said, hey, we're hiring. Can you please send your students to us? So not lately, but yes, our local VA nursing home does hire. All right. So when you're looking at all of these online options, remember each one is going to cost your employer money. So if they're advertising here, 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 and here, that's a lot of money for them to push out with no real return. So you might see something on one that's not on the others, or there's going to be positions that aren't on any of them. How do we find those that aren't on any of the jobs boards? Well, jobs boards are nice, but the best thing to do once you know where you want to work, nursing home, hospital, rehab, whatever, go directly to the websites of those facilities. So if you want to go to Hospital ABC up the road, you would go to Hospital ABC's website. And every medical facility has a website, and every medical facility's website has a jobs or careers option. It's either up in the top menu, usually it's where it is, or you might find it in the footer at the bottom. But you will find a link to their jobs board on their own website, and you can search it. They own this site. It's free for them. So instead of relying on, iHire or LinkedIn Jobs or something like that, go directly here. go to each website. Okay, bless you. Okay, and you'll apply right online. Even nursing homes and assisted living facilities have applications directly online. I've kind of make this easy for you. If you go to our website, foryourcna.com, remember that's my free website, under after certification at the top, it has local employers. I told you we're going to come back to this. On this site, local employers, as long as you know where you want to work, hospital, nursing home, rehab, etc., I have them all listed here for you. And if you click on it, it'll take you directly to their website, usually the careers or jobs tab of that website. So if you go to this, my website, you can link over to all of them. So let's say you got hospital on your quiz. You want to work at a hospital. You can just click on this. It'll take you to the hospital, apply. Click on this one. It'll take you to the hospital, apply. Click on this one. Just go right down. You can apply to all of them in an afternoon. Okay, good. All right. But this can be time consuming, going to every single one of these places. It can be time consuming. So you can also use Uncle Google for this. Now, Google is a search engine, but more importantly, it's a web crawler. So Google actually goes to every website on the internet. Every single website on the internet is accessed by Google. So when you go onto Google and you type in CNA job openings near me, Google will say, hey, we found 100 websites that have CNA job openings near you. Here they are. And so it kind of gives you a one-stop shop that's outside of all of those jobs boards that cost money. So often you'll see things on here you don't see anywhere else because you didn't think to go to that website, right? So this is a really, really good option. And a lot of people don't do this. They go to Google to go to Indeed, but they don't actually search on Google itself. And Google is a huge resource for us when we're looking for jobs.
A lot of it is outdated. They don't do a good job. Like you find old posts.
Yes, yes.
job listings.
Yeah, you do have to be careful there. Yeah. They don't always keep up to date when they hire somebody of taking that post down. Yeah. All right. So this will help you with that. If you go to social media, almost every medical center now has a social media presence. Nursing homes, hospitals, rehabs, they're all on social media. So go find them. Because when they have a job opening, they usually will post it on their social media, and that's going to be updated information. Okay, so utilize your social media as well. It's a great search tool for jobs. But this is probably the most effective. This is probably the most effective. Everybody knows somebody that works in healthcare. It's the dominant industry in our county. Everybody knows somebody that works in healthcare. So tap them and say, hey, doesn't your mom work in healthcare? Where does she work? Does she like it there? And get some information. If it's somewhere that you want to apply, go apply. Let them know that she sent you, and she will get a bonus if you get hired. And you will get a bonus too, because they would rather give that money to individuals that work for them than an online jobs board. Okay, good. Makes sense? So tap your local network. Bonuses are always nice. Other opportunities, you can visit facilities in person. You can attend job fairs, community events, trade magazines. All of those are other good resources, kind of third-party resources. But I want to talk about that. This one right here, job fairs and community events. We actually have a local hospital system that does a hiring event, a meet and greet, very informal, social meet and greet once a month at Marker 48 Brewing. So you'd want to tap your social media to find out when and what date and what time, and then go shake hands. It's very informal. It's very relaxed. But it's a great way of networking and trying to find those positions. So Marker 48, it's a brewery up on 50, which I thought was really, really cool that it is such, because when you're talking about finding a job, I mean, you're really uptight and, it's always such an ordeal. This just allows everybody to kind of be more personable about it. Also on social media today, in one of the Brooksville groups that I'm in, there was a posting for an assisted living facility that is currently hiring CNAs and med techs. And if you don't have your med tech, they are willing to help you obtain it through their pharmacy. So go on to one of the Brooksville, I don't remember the name of the facility, I can't tell you. Go on to the Brooksville Facebook group, and you should be able to find it. Okay. So a lot of opportunities. So now that we've figured out where we want to apply, let's talk about the application process. Most applications are now online, which stinks, because it used to be that you could go into a facility and you could fill out an application and hand it to a human. And now they can put a face to a name and get a sense of who you are. When we're doing online applications, there is nothing to differentiate you from anybody else. You are a name on a screen, and it's very impersonal, and it's really hard to cut through and get to a human. So there's a couple things you need to know about online applications. The very first one is that whatever the job description says is what goes on your application, word for word. So if the job description says BLS required and you have your CPR certification with AED, it's the same thing. CPR with AED is BLS. Well, the job description says BLS. If you put on your application, you have CPR with AED, you know it's the same thing, but that computer filter does not. And it will absolutely throw away your application. You won't be notified. Your application just stops dead in the water. That's it. And you're sitting around waiting for a phone call that's never, ever, ever going to come. So you want to make sure you read that job description thoroughly. Whatever the job description has is what you're putting on your application, so they match and it gets through that filter so you can get to a human. So CPR, let me explain the difference. Hold on. CPR is done by a body, a living body, any living body. If you have the physical capability of pushing hard and fast on somebody's chest, congratulations, you can do CPR. 911 will walk you through it on the phone. Okay, easy. All you got to do is be able to push hard and fast on somebody's chest. 911 will tell you how. CPR is not hard. Not hard. AED adds a little layer of complexity. AED is a electronic box, like what's on the right up there, that white box, that's an AED. You put sticky pads on, and the box, the AED, is going to determine what the next step is, and we just follow what it tells us to do. So it will decide if the patient needs to be shocked, if there's a rhythm there that we can shock, or it'll say resume CPR. So once you get the pads on, the AED is the doc in the box. It's going to tell us what to do. Okay. Again, anybody 911 can walk you through it. The pads even have pictures that show you where to put them. Okay. This isn't hard, guys. This is not hard at all. They've made this super easy. So if anybody can do CPR and anybody can work an AED, right? We're going to give them their own special card because it's just anybody. We don't really expect a whole lot. Give it a good try. Okay. Now, when you work in healthcare, you're getting paid. It doesn't matter whether you're doing hand care or foot care or making a bed or feeding a patient or bathing them or doing CPR, you're still getting paid, right? So if we're getting paid to do something, now there's got to be a little bit higher level of competency because we're getting paid for it. We also have some additional tools that we can use to make it a little bit easier, like a mask that we can blow into to get air into the lungs. So we're not doing mouth to mouth, we're using a mask. Using the AED with a higher level of competence, right? So CPR, that's community. That's a live body that can press on a chest. We're not expecting a whole lot. Do your best. If you don't do it right, nobody's going to sue you. It's fine. 911 will walk you through it if you need them to. But when you're getting paid for the job, now we have a higher level of expectation. So the class is still CPR with AED, everything I just told you, they're going to tell you again, right? We're going to go over a few extra pieces of equipment that you might have at your disposal in a clinical setting. But we're not going to call it CPR because we have a higher level of expectation of you. We're going to call that BLS. It's the same thing. It's just our expectation of your performance is a little different. Does that make sense? Because you're getting paid for it. It's part of your work. Good? But the concepts for both, same. Every healthcare setting is probably going to require that you have BLS. Yes. She does. So you're going to get a flyer today that has a QR code. You'll want to use that QR code because you get a discount for being, one of my students if you use that QR code. This is her classroom. She just lets us use it.
When I went in, I scanned the QR code on the paper that we got at the beginning of class, and it said there were no more classes available. It said the last one was on the 30th.
Try again, scan it again, because I believe she's updated it.
Okay.
If not, let me know, and I'll get on Julie and have her update it. Yeah. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she updated it like last week because I had to give her the dates that I was going to be in here so she could schedule her classes around that. Okay. Good. So yeah, the flyer that you got the first day that blue on top basically said welcome to class, and it told you about the free snacks. At the bottom of that page is Julie's QR code. All right, so make sure you're matching the job description. Apply to all positions listed. See, that's the thing. It used to be a million years ago. If you walked into a hospital, you filled out an application to be a CNA, it would go to basically all departments that were hiring for a CNA. One application went everywhere. It doesn't work like that anymore. Online applications, you're only applying to that one position. So if there are 4 CNA positions listed, the first one you click, when you apply for it, you fill out the online application, it's only going to go to that first position. You're not applying for the other 3. So you have to apply to everything. If you don't hear back in a week, chances are your application got caught in one of those filters and was discarded. They don't tell you. They don't let you know, hey, thanks, you didn't qualify. They don't say nothing. You apply, you don't hear anything. Not hearing anything means your application is dead in the water. So apply again. Apply again. And I hate to say this, but the filters do seem to recognize the same name that comes through multiple times. If my students seem to have much better luck when they apply often. It's like it finally gets through. So make sure you're applying again if you're not getting any results.
I have a question going back to working for like 24 hours or whatever. So like for me, I have my own like private caregiving. Does that count? Like when I get my CNA license, since I'm getting paid, or do I have to be in the facility?
I can't give you legal guidance on that. I'm not allowed. And the reason that I have to say it very specifically like that is because you might be doing CNA tasks. Okay. But remember, CNAs must work under the direction of a registered nurse. That's our whole scope of practice. So because private, you're not under a registered nurse. Now, I'm not saying that it won't fly. I'm not saying that at all. I know a lot of people that have successfully renewed. Were they audited and have to prove it and have to justify it? Probably not, because only 1% of people get audited. What would happen if you were audited and they didn't accept it? That I don't know. So that it's a very, very gray area. And I would encourage you to contact an employment lawyer to learn more. Yeah, it's actually up to the Board of Nursing's discretion. Yeah. All right, so let's go to page 175 and learn how to ace that interview. We're almost done, guys. So far we've learned how to find a job, how to apply for a job, how to get past the filters of a job, what the difference between CPR and BLS is, what continuing education you need for renewal, what work requirement you need for renewal, how to find your continuing education, and what to do if you want to move out of state. So we've covered a lot of things so far. Now let's talk a little bit about that interview. Now, chapter 10 covered this. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but there are a few things that I do want to bring to your attention that you may not have thought about. Okay. The first is eye contact. Remember that half of our job is observation and reporting. You guys remember that? If you can't make eye contact during an interview, it's a red flag. We know you're nervous during an interview. You're supposed to be nervous during an interview. I don't have a problem with you being nervous during an interview. I do have a problem with you failing to make eye contact, though, during an interview. Because in healthcare, when we get into emergency situations, you are going to be way more nervous than you are in an interview. And if you can't perform in an emergency situation, why do I have you? So eye contact becomes way more important during an interview than you think it is. Make sense? Confidence, same thing. I need you confident in an interview because healthcare is stressful. Healthcare is high stakes. And emergencies in healthcare require a calm, level head and the ability to communicate clearly, even in a crisis. And that's what they're looking at here. Confidence is going to count. Okay. Yeah. Good morning. If I enroll in a weekend CNA prep class, would I receive a certificate of completion? Colleen, I don't know. I have no idea. You would contact the school. I don't know. I don't know. It also depends on what state you're in. The school, I'm not sure. If it's just one single weekend, please beware. Guys, how many hours were we here? Anybody know? There's 8 classes, 4 hours a class. 32 hours. You were here 32 hours. Well, you will be at the end of class today. 32 hours. How much did I shove in that 32 hours?
A lot.
A lot. And you guys probably felt that it was still too fast. So if you're just going to a weekend class where it's like 2 8-hour days.
That's why I was surprised because the last one I took was 80 hours.
Yeah, good luck. I don't know that you could truly understand everything you need to learn in that compressed time frame. So just be careful. Go back and watch our review, our replays of this class, right? It's up on flcnatraining.com. Go watch the reviews. They're free. You don't even have to sign in. I don't ask for any information. Just go watch the classes. And it'll give you a sense of the type of content that you need to cover. If you're in Florida and you want to challenge a test, that's all you got to do. Go watch a replays, challenge test. Doesn't cost you a penny. It's the exact same information they got here. They were just live for it. Okay, go watch it. And it might be a good opportunity for you to be able to gain the information you need to challenge the test if you're in Florida. If you're going to take a weekend program, I'm not telling you it's bad. It could be a perfectly good program, but just be careful because it's a lot of information in a very compressed timeline. And I'm just afraid you're not going to get everything you need to be successful. All right, interview tips. Arrive early, not Tuesday early, but like 10, 15 minutes early. And everybody gets this wrong. You are not arriving early for them. Right? We all think we need to be early so that they know we're prompt and you know, we've got a good handle on our time management. That's not why you're there. You are there to interview them. This is a place that you are promising to be at 8 to 12 hours every single day of your life. If you don't like the environment, those are going to be some really long 8 to 12 hours. You are going to hate what you're doing. And that's going to make every part of your life absolutely miserable. You don't want that. You want the right setting for you. And that's why you need to go early. You need to be looking at the facility. How does the facility look? How does it smell? If it smells bad, that means the caregivers don't do their jobs. Do you really want to work in that environment? Watch the call lights. How long does it take for call lights to get answered? That tells you a little bit about their staffing. Watch how staff interact with each other. If they are sniping at each other and really just witchy, is that really the environment you want to be in? Because you're going to be the new kid. If they're that way with each other, do you know what they're going to do to you? Right? You don't want this to be the worst place in the world to work. And you want to find that out before the interview. So go early and pay attention. That's why you're going early. I have gone into an interview, sat there, and left before the interview ever happened, and told the receptionist, "I'm sorry. Please send my thank you to the person that was going to interview me, but this is not the right setting for me, not the right place for me. So I don't want to waste their time." And I have left. Absolutely. Because I'm not going to tie up my time in a place that I'm going to be miserable. There's other places for me to work. Good? Good. Make sure you smile. Act like you want to be there. I mean, I know it's an interview. I know that you're nervous. I know that, you know, this isn't what you want to be doing today, but at least act like it. If you come in all sour and grumpy and just miserable, they're not going to hire you. Your patients need sunshine, and it's going to be your job to bring it to them. So at least act like you want to be there. Shake hands firmly, answer questions thoroughly, not long rambling, but make sure you're answering the question. And we're going to ask some questions at the end of the interview. So if you go to page 176 for me. You guys probably don't know what questions to ask right now because you're new to the industry. You need to ask questions, but you need to know what questions to ask. So I've created a whole list for you. Take a couple of them. And at the end of the interview, they're going to say, "Do you have any questions for me?" If you say, "No, I'm good," that's not good. Because it makes you look uninterested, or worse, uninformed. You should have questions at the end of the interview. That interview is not going to cover everything. It's just not. You should have questions. So I've given you a list of questions. One of the questions you need to know, what's the uniform requirement for this job? Is this a set schedule, or am I floating? That's a good question. Do you offer continuing education? What is the opportunity for advancement? How do you structure pay raises? When would I be evaluated, and at what interval would I be eligible? That's an important question. You also want to ask about pay, but you don't want to say, so how much you can pay me? That's very presumptuous. Don't do that. But you can say, what is the starting wage, starting level for somebody with my level of experience for this position? You're not saying me. You're just asking, what is the starting rate for somebody with my level of experience, which right now is none, for this position? It gives you their starting point, because if you're going to compare a couple of different offers, you need to know pay is going to be one of the deciding factors. You need to know where they're going to start at. So there's a lot of questions that you are probably going to want the answers to. You should take a notebook with you to an interview. Should be a small notebook or note cards. Put it in your pocket with a pen. And you should be writing down the answers to these questions. You should. Not okay, you should. And this is why this happens so many times. At the end of the interview, they might actually offer you a position. They might actually say, hey, I'd like to offer you a position. This is going to be a Tuesday through Saturday. You're going to work the 7 to 3 shift. And I think I'm going to put you on 3 North. But we're going to need you to come in for orientation on Monday. And orientation's over in our medical office building across the street. It's going to be the 3rd floor, room 218. And you're going to be meeting with Victoria for orientation. You can just wear anything for the first 3 days. But after that, you're going to be over here on 3 North. I'll put you with preceptor Sarah, and you'll need to be in scrubs. So for orientation, you'll start at 8, but when you're here, I need you here at 6:45 to work with Sarah, okay?
You need something to write with.
What's going to happen is you're just so blindsided that you actually got the job that you're just going to nod along and you're going to leave. And, a half hour later, you're like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. And that can, because when you call the receptionist, they're going to go, huh? I wasn't in there. I don't know. And it can really cause a lot of anxiety all the way around. So what a lot of people do, they just don't show up for orientation because they don't want to do it wrong. So they just don't go. Take a notebook with you. Okay. Good.
Sometimes I'm a person who loves writing things down.
Mhm.
It's awkward writing stuff when people are just looking at me.
It's fine. It's fine.
Just like,
Yeah.
"One moment."
Yeah. No, that's fine. They would rather you do that.
Of course, no. Naturally, then bother them again with the same question.
Right. It actually makes you look much more organized and detail oriented, which is going to be a plus sign in your favor.
Until they open your notebook.
Yeah. That's okay. Scribbles are good. We like shorthand. All right. This is a question I get a lot. What do you wear to an interview? Business professional is certainly okay. I mean, that's what we're used to wearing to interviews. Nice pants and a nice blouse or a dress. It's all fine. No problem. But there's an old saying, dress for the job you intend to get. What do CNAs wear? It is appropriate to wear scrubs for entry-level healthcare positions, but they need to be neat, clean, pressed, lines in them. Don't take them out of the dryer, shake them out, and throw them on like we do for everything else. Make sure they've got some lines, that you've ironed them. They should be solid in color. Darker is better. This is not the time to try out your new Tweety Bird print. Okay. This is professional. We're looking for professional. If you have visible tattoos, you should wear an undershirt under your scrubs until you know what their tattoo policy is. Now, tattoos are not nearly as taboo as they used to be. I've been in this game long enough that I've seen the change. It is a great question. If you have tattoos or piercings, you need to know what their policy is on both. If you like acrylic nails, you want to find out what their acrylic nail policy is. So the things that are important to you are going to be things you're going to ask during an interview. But yeah, you should have either something over or long sleeves under your scrubs just until you find out what their particular policy is on all of those things. If you're working in a setting where your patients are very high risk or your patients have bloodborne pathogens, they're not going to want any extra holes. Remember our chain of infection? You guys remember that? So if you have a lot of extra holes, that may prevent you from working in those settings just because it's another portal of entry for pathogens or another portal of exit if we're working around high risk individuals. Make sense? It's not about you. It doesn't have anything to do with your right to modify your body. You have the right to modify your body in any way you wish. That's your body. Do with it as you will. But the choices that you make may affect your ability to work in certain settings because of those choices. Okay? It's not a rights issue. That's a consequence issue. Good?
Question about scrubs. I actually don't know. Are they provided to you by the employer?
No.
Or do you have to get your book done?
In most settings, not all, there are some settings that will provide uniforms, but they're few and far between. In most settings, you're going to be responsible for providing your own uniforms. So if you decide to wear scrubs and you know the color that CNAs wear in that facility, like let's say that you've got a cousin that works there and she's telling you that CNAs are in hunter green and you have hunter, don't go out and buy them. But if you have hunter green, wear them. And I know you'll feel a little awkward because it's like, I'm dressing like I've already got the job. And is that even right? It's a little awkward. Don't feel awkward. This is okay. So I'm going to give you a little glimpse into a supervisor's mindset here. Okay. Many years ago, healthcare workers could wear anything they wanted. Tweety Bird was fine. Pooh Bear was fine. Right. Dora the Explorer. Right. All whatever, flowers, geometric pattern, they didn't care. As long as you showed up for work and your clothes were happy, right? We didn't care. Well, many years ago, facilities decided that made their staff look a little unprofessional. They wanted everybody uniform. So they made these sweeping changes. Everybody has to be in these particular colors. Every time a facility is sold, the colors change. Now, employers are the ones that set the rules, but managers are the one that enforce the rules. So your manager does not want to be the fashion police. You guys are all adults. They don't want to have to tell you, oh my gosh, you can't wear that today. We've had this conversation. So would you please go home, change, and come back? But in the meantime, while you're gone, somebody's got to cover your patients. Right? So after a while, bless you, these supervisors start getting really, really uptight about clothes because adults are putting them in the position of having to play fashion police because you guys won't play by the rules. Right? And it makes them grumpy. Understandably so. So if you show up to an interview in a print scrub top and that place requires solids, they're not going to hire you, period. I don't care how good you are in the interview. They're just not going to hire you because they are not going to play the fashion police. They're just not going to do it. They've had so many bad experiences. They just don't want to deal with it. So they'll skip over you. And that's why I'm telling you, don't wear print scrubs to an interview. Now, if you show up in solid scrubs, hey, you're on the right track. I think I can work with that. I can get you into the right color. It's good. If you show up in the right color, it's like the angels are singing. Ah, you not only took the time to figure out what we wear here, but you showed up in it. And I'm not even paying you. So I don't have to play fashion police. You guys see how that works? Okay. So if you know the color and you don't go out and buy it, but if you know the color and you have the color, wear the color. Good? All right. You should take a packet with you during an interview. Now, I do have this on, there is a page. I don't know. It's on some page. Try 175 maybe. Is it what? Okay, thank you. 174, second column. Thank you. You should take a packet with you. This helps them hire you quickly and easily, and that's what we're all about. So your packet should have these items except for this one. You should have a resume. Most places require a resume for your employee file. You should have your CPR and first aid cards that you'll get when you take your CPR class. You should have any certificates of completion. So your if you've got your med tech, put that in there. If you've got a home health aide, put that in there. If you took a phlebotomy class and got a certificate, put that in there. If you've had your in-services, put those in there. Any certificates you have should go in this packet. So you remember that Florida CNA license lookup? When you find yours, there's going to be a little print button at the top. You just click it and you're going to print your certificate out. It won't be a blue card like this. It'll just be a piece of paper that has your information on it. They're required by law. They have to go in and verify it anyway. But when you put it in the packet, at least they can see what your CNA number is.
When you say certifications, all related to health.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's one exception to that. If you're going to go to work in home care and you have your safe food handling certificate, I would put that in as well. Okay, because there is a crossover between food service and home care. All right. So when you put this packet all together and you go in for your interview, you're going to shake their hand and give them their packet. They're going to put it on their desk. They're not going to look at it. They don't need it. They've got you in front of them. They don't care about that packet right now. They're just going to put it on the corner of their desk. But you are not the only person they're interviewing today. You're one of maybe 5 or 6. So at the end of the day, if they remember you, it's going to be a miracle. I mean, you're blending into a sea of people. You can't be hired if you're not remembered. And you don't have enough experience under your belt to really be remembered. I mean, unless you are interviewing like a superstar, you're probably not going to be remembered. So at the end of the day, before that person goes home, they're going to pick up their desk. They're going to kind of clean everything off, and they're going to come across your packet, and they're going to flip through it, and they're going to say, oh, Jose, I remember him. Oh, yeah, he came in early this morning. He actually interviewed really well. And they're going to take a second look. So it's a way of getting in front of the interviewer without physically having to be there. If you're not remembered, you can't be hired. So there's another thing that I'm going to tell you to do that will help you with this as well. But packets are big. Now, when I first started teaching, I did not have students make packets. But I owned the retail store, the scrub shop. We were the only scrub shop in the county for almost 20 years. Every employer that is going to hire you knows me. They know me because they sat in your seats when they first got started. I've been doing this 20 years. Or, yeah, that's right. I have trained most of the managers out there. Or they have shopped with me. But they all know me. And a lot of those hiring managers said, hey, listen, you're still teaching the CNA, right? Let me tell you, this is what we really need. When your students come in, can you have them bring this with them? Because if they bring this, I can hire them like right away. If they don't bring this, then I've got to call them up on the phone and ask them to go get all this stuff together and bring it and give it to human resources. Human resources has to check it in. They got to get over to me. And then I can make the phone call to offer them a job. And that's a much longer process. They told you to bring this, not me. I would listen to them. Good. Most of all, make a good impression. Make a good impression. Make sure you understand the job requirements, what it is they do. So if you go into a rehab, to interview, you probably need to know a little bit about what a rehab actually does before you go. You don't want to just walk in and say, yeah, I just need a job. I don't care doing what. I just need a job. you are not going to be an attractive candidate. Know a little bit about the job that you're walking into. All right, Jake, could you please pass out class 8? I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to make you an interview superstar. And it's all going to come down to this one question. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And you know this question is coming. Everybody knows this question is coming during an interview. And every single one of you will stop and look at me like a deer in headlights. It's an open book question. The topic is you, and you still can't answer it. So let me explain to you how you're going to answer this question specific to you. So turn the review sheet over on the back. This is kind of like Mad Libs. It's a little bit fun. So on the back is a formula. What we need to know are your past job roles. What were you before you became a CNA? Were you a server? Were you an accountant? Were you an over-the-road truck driver? What were you, a mermaid? What did you do before you became a CNA? Because when you did that thing, whatever that thing was, you actually developed 3 soft skills: punctuality, organization, time management, the ability to work well with others, the ability to diffuse difficult situations. If you are a server, you have excellent anticipation of needs. You walked by and saw the drink was half empty. What did you do? Filled it up. You anticipated a need without having to be asked. That is a soft skill. I've got a whole bunch of them listed there for you under number 1. Go through that list and find 3 that relate to you specifically and circle them. These are going to be things like active listening, attention to detail, anticipating needs, communication. So if I'm looking at this, for me, personally, I am not choosing punctuality or time management. That's not me. I do not possess those skills. If you ask my family, they will all tell you I will be 15 minutes late for everything standard. And they call it Patti Standard Time. It is a long-running joke in the family, but the problem is it's true. So I'm not going to claim time management. What I am going to claim is attention to detail. Have you noticed the attention to detail? I have very strong organizational skills. As I presented this information, we built from one topic to the next in a very logical, organized, linear manner to get us to where we are today. And I have fantastic observation skills. I know more about you guys than you know I know about you because of my observation skills. So those are the things that I would pick for me. You'll pick the 3 that relate to you. So we know where we came from, and we know 3 soft skills that we have developed in those roles. Now, I want to know why you're here. What made you decide to be a CNA? Of all things, all the opportunities you had available to you, why did you pick this one? Is it because you've always wanted to work in healthcare? Is it because you have a strong desire to help people? Maybe you're working in a healthcare role already and you're looking to advance in that role. Why are you here? And then I need to know a little bit about your particular personality. Who are you? Are you flexible? Are you dedicated? Are you empathetic? Are you energetic? Are you a positive person? What makes you you? And that's number 3. So find 3 traits under number 3 that describe you. And then you're going to put it all together. You're going to say something like, well, when they ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, in my previous role as a server, I've learned attention to detail, managing difficult customers, and the ability to communicate really well. But I decided that I really wanted to work in healthcare for the opportunity of advancement because I like hands-on care. So I took a CNA class, and I believe I would be a good asset for your organization because I'm flexible, I'm honest, and I'm dependable, and I'm a quick learner. That's how you ace an interview, guys. That's how you become an interview superstar. That's a whole lot different than, well, I don't know. What do you want to know? Your interview is your 30 seconds to sell yourself. And that's all you've got, 30 seconds. If you can't explain to them why they need you in 30 seconds, they'll move on to somebody else. This is how you do it. Good? So you just put it all together. Past role, 3 soft skills you developed, why you're entering healthcare, and 3 personality traits. Put all of that together. I've even written it all out for you. Write this out, put it on your mirror at home, and memorize it. So the next time somebody says, tell me a little bit about yourself, you can that quick. Good? Easy. So this is what it looks like. Good? After the interview, I want you to send a thank you note. Now go to the Dollar Tree. You can get 10 of these with 10 little envelopes for $1.25. It doesn't cost you much money. And I want you to fill it out before you ever go to your interview. Just don't put the name of the person that you're interviewing with. Leave that blank for right now because that can change. So it should say, Dear blank. Don't fill that in. Thank you for the opportunity to interview for this position. Please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to hearing from you shortly. Sincerely, your name. Super sweet, super small, short, easy. Address the envelope. When you go in for the interview and you come back out to your car, do not start your car. You need to write the name of the person you just interviewed with on the card and on the envelope. Put the card in the envelope, drive directly to the post office. Your interview is not done until this gets in the mailbox. Don't leave it in your car. Because if you stop at Ross and you start shopping, and then you'll have to go to lunch because now you're hungry. And then, it's time to pick up the kids. So you have to go do that. And before you know it, 3 days have gone by and this never made it to the post office. Your interview is not over until this is at the post office. If you do that, this shows up on their desk the next day. The next day. On their desk. Remember I said you can't be hired if you aren't remembered? So if you went to the interview and you were a superstar and told them a little bit about yourself and you left them a packet and they get a thank you card, they actually think you might want this job and they will hire you because you have a higher chance of actually showing up. This is how you get hired, guys. The person that does those 3 things will get the job. They will. Good? These are insider secrets. How bad do you want the job? Now, you might be offered a PRN position, and I want to talk about this a little bit because a lot of this is misunderstood. A lot of you are looking for that full-time position. You're not going to get it right off the bat. Florida is a right-to-work state. That means that there's no contracts. You can quit at any time, and I can fire you at any time. There's no contract here. But that's a problem for the employer because you're working with my patients. And if you do something wrong, they're going to sue me because I'm the one with the money. They're not suing you. What are you making, $20 an hour? They're not going to get nothing. Who are they going to sue? The facility, right? So I'm hiring you and you're going to work with my patients. But if you're no good, I'm the one on the hook for this. And I can't just fire you because there's way too many attorneys out there that would love the opportunity to take me to court. So I have to go through a series of disciplinary actions. We're going to do some verbal warnings and document them, some written warnings that you're going to sign, some remediation contracts, some opportunities for improvement. There's just this whole process I got to go through to get rid of a bad employee, to show that I tried every step of the way to make a bad employee a good employee. In the meantime, you're killing my patients. Is that a good deal for me? So I'm not going to offer you a full-time position because then I have to do all this work to get rid of you if you're no good. I'm going to offer you a PRN position. PRN means as needed. This is not on call. This is as needed. You're going to tell me when you're available. I'm going to plug you into the schedule on those days when I need you. So if you're available 7 days a week, I'll probably give you 5 of them. These 5 days, this is your shift, just like a regular job, but it's not full-time, no benefits, higher rate of pay. That's good. If I don't like you, I'm just not going to put you on the schedule. I haven't fired you. I'm not going to go through the whole written warnings, verbal warning. I'm not going to go through that. I'm so sorry. We don't need you this week. Try again next week. Yeah, I still don't need you this week. Try again next week. And eventually you'll stop calling. If they like you, you will get that full-time position. This, guys, that PRN is an extended paid interview. They're taking a chance on you. Perform well, because if you don't, they're not going to use you. Make sense? But if you want those full-time positions, you're probably not going to get it out of the gate. You're an unknown. And it puts all the liability on the facility. They're not going to trust you. So if you're offered a PRN position, take it. It does have a higher pay. There's no benefits, but you will get a higher rate of pay. Good? Good? All right, just because you're leaving us doesn't mean we're leaving you. You still have a ton of resources available to you. You have our skills videos. You have the online course that you are all registered in. You have the classroom replays. You have a practice test in your book on page 191 that'll tell you whether you're ready for the written test. That practice test on page 191, if you take it, the answers are in the very back of the book, like all other answers. If you miss 5 or fewer on my practice test, you are ready for the state exam. If you miss more than 5, you are not ready for the state exam. You need to go back and rewatch all of these. Anybody take the practice test yet? What'd you get? Okay.
Not yours. Online.
Okay. All right.
It said I failed.
You failed?
Yeah, the online.
Where, what, which?
I took it like 3-4 weeks.
Oh, before? Okay.
Yeah.
But was it mine?
No,
Or,
no.
okay. Be careful. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. What'd you get?
I missed
1. Okay. By the time I'm done with you, that online, or I'm sorry, that practice test on page 191 should be super easy. Super easy. Be careful about other online practice tests. Okay. This is reality. All right. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. We all know that, right? So when you're taking a free practice test online, how are they making their money? Ads. They're making their money through ads. Everybody got that? If you're not paying for something, you are the commodity. That's a good principle to remember. If you aren't paying, they're making money on you. Okay? So your first question has got to be, how are you making money off of me? So ads. So they're going to get paid more the more ads they show you. So if they give you questions that are impossible to answer and you fail the test, that means you're going to take more tests, which keeps you on the site longer and serves more ads and makes them more money.
My logic was like, I want to know this stuff anyway. So if I don't know it, I need to know it. And I took it
Yeah.
at the beginning just to kind of.
And that's fine. You can take all the online, but I want you to understand they may not always reflect the actual content that's going to be on the test.
That's the scary part there.
Yeah. And you're not going to know the difference. You don't know what you don't know at this point. Does that make sense? My test is spot on. All right. You also have the game shows. If you go to my YouTube channel under the live tab, you can watch the game shows. So we got a ton of stuff for you that's still available to you. Please remember that we're here for your success. There's also a practice in here on Monday and Wednesday. I'm going to pass this around. If you have not signed up for practice and you want to attend practice, check off what hours you want to be here so I can make sure that Jake is here for those hours. Okay?
I have a question about that. Is it possible to like email, like instead of signing up today, because now don't know.
Send an email to Jake if you want to.
To, like, at the time and check it out.
Yeah. So send an email to Jake, and that's foryourcna@gmail.com.
Oh, literally, okay.
Yep. All right. Those of you who are not coming into practice, you probably want to consider getting a practice kit. In here, we have everything you need to practice. It's all right here. But at home, you probably don't have a gait belt. You don't have a drainage bag. You don't have a graduate container. You don't have toothettes. You probably don't even have chucks, although you can go buy puppy pads.
Gotta have a victim.
You know, you do need a victim, but a lot of people have been very successful using dolls, stuffed animals. But this gives you everything you need to be able to practice. This is all the stuff in it. It comes in a carrying bag. There's red and then there's black. You can pick which one you want. The red is drawstring. The black is more like a tote bag. All of this is available through today for you guys for $49.99 plus tax. After today, it goes back up to, is it $65.99 or $64.99?
Yes, ma'am.
$64.99. So if you're going to get a practice kit, do it today. You also have the flashcards and, other opportunities for you as well. The online course is available for you. And the game show, the next one will be in 2 weeks. I'll be doing another live game show, although the questions won't be quite as hard as they were yesterday. So now I need to collect your yellow books. So before we do that, so everybody just stay tight for a second. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of our virtual people. So those of you that joined us today, thank you so much. This does conclude our last CNA class of the year. We will start again on January 5th. In the meantime, I will have another game show in 2 weeks. I'll have 2 in December on the 1st and the 3rd Tuesday of December. And then we will start classes again on January 5th. I hope to see you then. In the meantime, stay tuned to our YouTube channel because I'm going to have a whole bunch of new videos that are going to be posted there over the next 8 weeks. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed today, please make sure you give me a thumbs up or a heart or something to let YouTube know that you found this content useful so it will recommend it to other people. If you're getting ready to test, the best of luck to you. Please let us know how you do. And we're rooting for you. Until next time, happy caregiving. Bye.